Top layer. Layer lowdown. For individuals with autism that are similar to me, there are more times in which we look down on ourselves, as opposed to thinking positively about ourselves. However, when those moments of feeling positively about ourselves happen, we ask that you reiterate to us, or say again to us, the positive things we are saying. This helps us focus more on the positives. This one layer, this top layer, feels really good when it happens, let me tell you. Into the layer. I've mentioned a lot of struggles I continue to go through in this book. I've given in-depth examples as to how these struggles affect me. There's a reason for the massive amount of negativity in this book. That reason will be explained in the purpose section of the book. That being said, let's shed some positive reality into the mix. The struggles are real, but so are the accomplishments. Here is what has happened to me between my last book at the end of 2018 and now in the beginning of 2025. 1. Received the Hero of Hope Award from the Inspiring Hope Incorporation. 2. Was a volunteer supervisor at the Northern Illinois Food Bank during the COVID-19 pandemic. 3. Got my bachelor's in applied behavioral sciences with a 4.0 GPA. 4. Started my mentoring program, which continues to help kids. 5. Started doing Kung Fu, and I am currently a purple belt. Hi! 6. Got my master's degree in special education with a 3.96 GPA. I learned the hard way that an A- isn't on the same level as an A or A+ in some graduate schools, which is why I didn't get a 4.0. Oh well. 7. I started my doctorate in educational leadership in August 2024. I also got straight A's for my first semester of the program, and man was it hard. 8. Got my first job that involves supervisory responsibilities whilst making way more money than I have in any other job I've worked before. 9. Have been able to establish a positive culture as a supervisor and have a great working relationship with my team. 10. I'm taking much better care of my finances and now have a top-tier credit score to prove it. 11. I have been noticed on more than one occasion for my great sense of fashion. My ability to color coordinate my outfits is uncanny. 12. Despite not regularly working out, I've been recognized by several people as having a natural gift in terms of strength and power. When barely warming up, I can rep 585 pounds on a seated leg press machine, 4x10, 10 times for 4 sets. The first statement I made about my strength can be backed up by being deemed by some of my Kung Fu coaches as having impressive punching power. Oh yeah. Employment. As stated, I currently have a job in which I have supervisory responsibilities. This job is at a place that I will call the C Place. The C Place is a school for individuals with special needs. I've had many jobs in my life. Most of these jobs have been with some of the most condescending, rudest, and most toxic people I've ever had the displeasure of meeting. But the C Place is different. Never, ever in my life have I worked in an environment where I feel as appreciated, respected, included, valued. My supervisors have been nothing but supportive to me as I took on this new role. I am running a self-contained classroom with the help of several teacher assistants. In the short time I've worked there, I've never been given so many compliments from people to the point of feeling like I'm in a fantasy. I've been complimented on my knack for providing structure to the students and keeping them engaged in fun learning activities. This goes back to that skill I used at the daycare. One of the best things about this is the fact that when I do try to go above and beyond, it's actually appreciated, unlike some other places I've worked at. One could assume, since I now have some level of authority, I would abuse it because of how I was treated by my managers and supervisors in my past. No way! That's the exact opposite of who I want to be. My classroom assistants have been enamored with my commitment to make them feel included in the classroom and not just viewing them as my helpers. I may not know what to do in all scenarios, as this is my first supervisory role, but I do know what not to do. I want to be the kind of leader that is collaborative, approachable, and that makes people feel valued. I know what it's like on the other end, and I don't want others to feel that way. Of course, I may have to say no to certain things, but I make sure to do it in a way that shows that every idea passed on to me is always considered and valued. I love my job at the C Place, and I hope to continue in its mission to help individuals with special needs. As far as the students go, they are truly amazing. Each of them have attributes about them that truly make them special. The amount of kindness and compassion I receive from them is truly heartwarming. I also must pay tribute to my side job at the Sylvan Learning Center. I've been a part-time employee there for nearly 4 years. I almost left August of 2021 to work on my master's, not thinking I could do both. Looking back, I am so glad I made the decision to do both. The students and I had developed a powerful bond. The table I work at as a tutor can be described as the fun and animated table. Oftentimes, I put on a persona that I'm the mean and scary teacher, which amuses the kids and actually helps them stay engaged in the learning. Again, going back to the whole I'm a big teddy bear, which students themselves have said about me. I also have 2 bosses there that have gone out of their way to make me feel like family. Even when given feedback, there has never been a time where I felt attacked in the process. The owner of the building, one of the bosses, has even gone above and beyond to come to my past book talk events, which is so epic and kind. I've even been trusted to open/close and run the building when the director and owner have time off. I don't foresee myself leaving Sylvan anytime soon. I really do enjoy it there. School. You know, when I was in high school, my GPA was barely a 2.1. My grades were exceptionally low. I had to take summer school my junior year after failing English class and still barely passed summer school with a D. You'd never know. Someone like that would be on his way to getting his doctorate degree. I will be the first one in my family to get his doctorate. I got accepted into Rockhurst University, where I will be working on my degree in educational leadership. I have to admit, the name Dr. Adjoumani does have a nice ring to it. It is tough as I do a lot of extra work during the week, but I want that doctorate degree and I'm going to get it. Readers, why can't you have the same mindset to having friends or losing weight? Brandon, completely different things. If that sounds confusing, please go back and reread the entire book. All right, moving on. E-Place students cared. One of my former students from the E-Place is a student I've known since the daycare job back in 2019. At times, he engaged in some problematic behaviors, and my responses to his behavior weren't always very helpful. But the one thing I always respected about that student was the deep-seated effort he put forth to do the right thing. Not everyone understood that about him, but I did. I knew he had a lot of potential when I first met him. He was one of my strongest club leaders. The week before I left, he facilitated a big project where he made a goodbye box out of wood and had the club members that were available to come and sign it. Then he gave it to me. It brought tears out of my eyes for sure. On my last day, the leaders encouraged me to come to the 2025 graduation. But I was nervous. By the time that day came, maybe I would have been forgotten. Again, with those hypotheticals. What if they don't care if I come? What if they don't want me to come? What if the parents don't want me to come? I can't believe this actually came to my mind. I truly was nervous, and thinking about it made me feel more upset until August of 2024. Much to my great and shocked surprise, the student I was talking about earlier sent me an email just to check up on me, stating that he missed me. My guess is that his parents must have given my email address to him when I sent my goodbye email with it to them at the end of the year. That right there made me realize that despite the mistakes I've made over the years with him, he still respects and appreciates me. It also made me realize many of the other students that I left likely feel the same way. He even reminded me about graduation. This truly means a lot. Ability to work with kids. Despite my concern of losing my edge and not measuring up, my family and my mentor have given me praise on my ability to work with kids so well, despite the fact that the mentoring has been helping me grow just as much as them. Truth be told, I do have a knack for working with kids. I can relate to the issues they go through. I can get to their level and converse with them whilst building rapport with them. I have a knack for helping to de-escalate situations and getting children back on track. My mentor has told me for years that whichever avenue I go on, it must involve working with kids. My ability to work with kids and understand them is a strong and uncanny trait of mine. I remember that for one of my other club leaders, I threw them a big surprise birthday party with many of the club members and leaders being in on it. It was after school, and they suspected nothing. This was because the surprise birthday party coincided with another party I had planned for all the kiddos. It was an ice cream soda float party to celebrate the work they did in one of our biggest club events. The look of shock, happiness, and appreciation was literally one of the best memories I have had in my entire time working with kids. He was so very appreciative. This student in particular has a sixth sense. Whenever they'd see that I was stressed out, they'd almost always be the one to check up on me. Things like this also heavily contribute to me not feeling down about myself. Another great thing that took place was that my leaders went out of their way to give me one of the most unforgettable experiences I've ever had. They got me Christmas gifts the last week before winter break in 2023. One of my other awesome leaders, several days prior, gave me a handwritten letter telling me how much they appreciate me in general. Many of these gifts were handmade, which added to the joy. I was going through an extremely tough period at the time of feeling borderline completely unappreciated. They wanted to do what they could to not have me feel that way anymore. Monday, December 18th, 2023, was when this glorious event took place. This was by far one of the best days I had at the E-Place. Moments like this made me feel like I was doing something right. Even with some of the issues I had in the club, I could not have asked for a better group of club members, general members and leaders alike. They did so many great and amazing things to help the club and truly make a difference. It wasn't perfect, but I was proud to be a part of it. We were all a true team. Advocating for myself. Back at the daycare, during the spring and summer of 2021, Allie and I often needed to combine our classrooms as we had the two oldest classrooms that coincidentally had the fewest kids. The purpose of this was to free one of us up in order to help out in the younger room. Although I wasn't too thrilled with this, I respected that this was what was best for the daycare as we were short-staffed. However, what I wasn't fine with was the fact that when we did need to combine, it was initially always myself that had to go to the younger room and not be with my actual students. As much as I respected the upper administration there, it seemed as if it came across as they were only prioritizing Allie's desire to be with her students. Granted, most of the time she had more kids than I did, but still, I put so much effort into the planning of activities for my students. The manager at the daycare that I got along with advocated for me based on my frustration, but very little changed. It wasn't until I started speaking up as well several times in combination with my manager advocating for me that things started to change. It wasn't perfect, but Allie and I started splitting the days that we were teaching the older kids in the combined group and switching to the younger kids. But the fight didn't stop there. On my last week at the daycare, we started doing half days with the kids so we could get to see our specific class students at least once a day. However, upper administration originally gave Allie the much bigger half of the day until I spoke to my manager, who spoke to them about making it more balanced. On my last day, I wanted to be with my class students for the entire day. Upper administration originally said yes to this, but then changed at the last minute as Allie wanted to be with her students as well. Okay, as much as I had issues with Allie, in her defense, it was the last day before her students would move on to kindergarten outside the daycare, only for some to come back in the afternoons. So, I proposed finding a way to split our rooms up for at least part of the day, and then letting me have both the groups to finish off the day. It took lots of stern and passionate speaking on my part, but it did eventually work. I got to spend my last day at the daycare with my class students. At the E-Place, even though I wasn't able to get my job back, I did put up one mighty fight, let me tell you. Not only did I speak to the principal with the advocacy of someone from my work union, yeah, I don't play around. I also was proud to let all the parents know about what happened. I also wrote a detailed letter to the school board about what happened. Even though they didn't respond, definitely disappointing. Hey, at least I can say I really tried. I can also say I didn't make the process of letting me go easy on the principal either. I love that I've grown more in advocating for my needs. Cooking. Although in my opinion, the professional culinary experience is too cutthroat for me, I do like to cook for fun. My siblings have encouraged me to explore more cooking opportunities because of what I can do. On my second try only, I made a pretty good beef Wellington and risotto meal for Christmas of 2024. It looked quite professional, if I do say so myself. Again, I do not cook with the finesse you might see from professional chefs due to my lack of interest. But I do love making awesome culinary creations and having people eat them. For 2 years, I've done a project at my mentor's house in which his family would go to church, and I would stay in their house and cook breakfast for them so they'd have a nice hot meal when coming home. They always rave over my cooking. Again, those compliments really help. Volunteering. For years, volunteering has been a big part of my life, and it will always continue to be. I won't go onto as much of a tangent about the importance of volunteering as I did at the mentor and teaching layer. But I will say that it's one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever had in my life. Thanksgiving of 2023, I facilitated a project with my mentees and families, an amazing former coworker, and my sister, where we cooked lunch for folks at a men's shelter. I was able to show leadership as well as empower the team to work together in such an amazing and synchronous fashion. Thanksgiving of 2024 was even better, and almost all the volunteers were returning volunteers. Even though not everyone sees volunteer work as such an exciting way of living, I'm proud of it, and nothing will stop me from continuing to do it. I've been able to make many strides in my life that are getting me closer to where I need to be. Despite the hiccups here and there, I still continue to be a strong advocate and role model for the individuals I mentor. I continue to advocate and speak on behalf of individuals with special needs. I continue to be an effective teacher. I'm in a place where I can really express my leadership skills. I'm able to help others in my life, whether adults or children, not go through the same hardships that I had or continue to have. I'm finishing up my second book. I'm about to get my doctorate. My goal is to do something really special in my life. I want to be able to continue helping kids, continue leading the right way, be able to have a strong voice in society as it pertains to kids, be a role model, be proud of the work I do, help guide and mentor our youth even further. Ladies and gentlemen, once I get my doctorate degree and a few other certifications, I want to be a school principal. That is who I need to be. When I was applying for my doctorate program, I was given 2 options. I could have taken the track to get the degrees as a K-12 leader or a higher education leader. The latter would have helped me get hired to work at universities and become an educational dean of some sort. A lot of prestige comes with titles like that. However, I chose the K-12 route. I want to continue working with kids and helping them develop open-mindedness and confidence. Nothing bugs me more than seeing individuals who are neurotypical or normal being mean to or making fun of individuals with disabilities. It's so much easier to help flip that thinking at a young age. It's easier to give that exposure to being friends with all kinds of individuals at a young age. Ideally, I think a middle school principal would be right up my alley. I've always had a knack for working with kids at that late elementary/early to late middle school age. This is who I need to be. It would be unjust to allow my mistakes and feelings of doubt to get in the way of me continuing to help kids. While I continue to grow and work through my challenges, hopefully with newfound support and understanding from my readers, hint, hint, I will get to my destiny. I am Brandon Adjoumani. I am a teacher. I am a mentor. And soon I will become Dr. Adjoumani, the respected school principal.